Greetings, my brothers, sisters, friends, and viewers from around the world. Today I bring you a very important story unfolding in East Africa, specifically in Mandera County, Kenya. Reports have emerged on alleged Jubaland forces, fighters from Somaliland's federal state of Jubaland, crossing into Kenya's territory. This issue has sparked fear, political division, political debate, and heated questions about the sovereignty, border control, and actually the lives of ordinary people caught in the middle. In this video, we are going to talk about it, then break it carefully. I will walk you through what has been reported, what the government of Kenya says, what local leaders are claiming, and the historical background of Jubaland and Mandera. And most importantly, what this means for families, for children, community living in that region. This is not just a Kenyan issue, it is a regional issue. It touches Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, the African Union, that is the AU, and even the international community that has long invested in peace and stability in the Horn of Africa. So I invite you to stay with me for the entire time, because by the end you will understand the bigger picture beyond the headlines. They usually say that this YouTube channel goes by the name Max the Vet. My work is to inject, vaccinate, and give us all the news that are coming through. So let's start by understanding who the Jubaland forces are, because Jubaland is one of the 5 federal states of Somalia. Its capital is Kismayo, and it borders Kenya, Mandera, Garissa counties. The forces we are talking about are local militia groups. I know people, when I'm talking about local militia, because sometimes referred to as the Jubaland security forces, they are often aligned with the Jubaland administration, which has had tensions with Somalia federal government in Mogadishu. For decades, the Kenya-Somali border has been porous. Family live on both sides, trade crosses freely, and unfortunately, so does insecurity. Mandera is unique. It is the tri-border area touching Ethiopia on one side and Somalia on the other. This makes it as a flashpoint whenever conflict escalates across the border. Kenya has historically hosted refugees, offered humanitarian support, and sometimes found itself drawn into Somalia's internal politics. So when you hear that Jubaland fighters have entered Mandera, it is not just a small story. It touches history, politics, and security at once, because this background is crucial, because without understanding Jubaland position in Somalia, the federal government push to control and Kenya's fragile border. And that is what I can tell. The story of Mandera might not sound confusing, but with the context, why we see why it matters. Now let's move to the reports. On the 3rd September 2025, Mandera Senator Ali Roba sounds the alarm. He said, and I quote, "Jubaland forces are now inside Mandera town. Schools have been shut, businesses paralyzed, families displaced." So the local leader, that is Roba, including the governor, repeated these claims. These were even repeated that a school in Mandera has been taken over by these forces and used as a base. Imagine being a parent in Mandera. You send your children to school and suddenly the school is shut down because armed men are allegedly actually inside the town. That is terrifying thoughts. Media outlets picked up the story quickly. Headlines actually screamed about Jubaland fighters and inside Kenya territory. Some articles shows family fleeing, shopkeepers closing their stalls, and children being kept at home. Fear spread the county. Whether or not all the details are accurate, the perception become reality for many people. Mandera was on edge. But what does the government of Kenya say? Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen addressed the issue. His message was very clear. Kenya has not invited, allowed, or sanctioned any foreign troops to operate inside Mandera. He suggested that those seen near Mandera may not be organized soldiers but civilian fleeing conflict in Somalia. He said, and actually I paraphrase, we cannot confirm now that the kind of people they are. Investigations are underway. Kenya has no policy that allows foreign forces to operate in Mandera. If people have crossed illegally, they will be handled according to the law and international practice. That is a CS saying that. You know, this makes even me worried that what kind of a country do we have that even the security, it is not like they are not even concerned in any way. People invade our country, but politicians, yeah, you know, this is now why some of the people, some of the cabinet secretary, like the security director, we call it dockets, should not be left for politicians, because for politicians just say what comes in their mind. In short, what I can just say, the government denies that organized Jubaland forces are in Mandera, but at the same time, they acknowledge that something unusual is happening, and the security agencies are analyzing this situation. This is a conscious response aimed at claiming that the public while investigations continue, because that is what I can say. This is not the first time Kenya has been pulled into Jubaland, Somalia dynamic for years. Kenya has maintained troops in Somalia under it was called the ATMIS, that is the African Union Transmission Missions. Kenya also had strong ties with the Jubaland leadership, particularly in Kismayo. In 2020, there were already reports of Jubaland forces clashing with Somalia federal troops in the border town of Belod Hao, just a few kilometers in Mandera. Residents in Mandera could hear the gunfire. This shows how easily Somali internal war actually spill over into Kenyan territory. Kenya's fear is twofold. That is what I can say. First, the Al-Shabaab may exploit this echo. And second, the Jubaland or the federal forces could drag Kenya into disputes that are not its own. So every time Jubaland fighters are mentioned in Mandera, it triggers memory of past insecurity. Because we as Kenyans, I remember the Kibaki time, we're having a lot of, we call the Al-Shabaab, the terrorists, a lot of things. Now, let's bring it down to the ground levels for families in Mandera, because this is a crucial thing. This is not about the geopolitics or high democracy that people can be calling it. It is about whether their children can go to school safely. It is about whether they can open their shop or fetch water or visit relatives across the border without fear. When leaders say that schools are closed, parents panic. When traders are saying that business are shut, the economy suffers. When families say that they are displaced, the humanitarian burden increases. Even if later the government concludes that they were not official Jubaland for the physiological impact remains real. Fear disrupts life just much as bullets. That is the reality. So when I'm trying to analyzing all these things, so where does this situation leave us in? Because the government is investigating. Should we wait for clarity from the government? That is the question that I'm going to ask Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen. Local traders insist that foreign forces are inside Mandera. That needs independent verification. How is that even possible? Then Kenya Somalia relationship will be tested. If forces cross illegally, Nairobi will expect Mogadishu and Jubaland to take responsibility. Yeah. And point number 4 is that for the people of Mandela, stability is most urgent need. Safe schools because children need to go to school. Open business because this is what runs the economy. And peace of mind, so as people should make sure that everything is safe. Because my conclusion, whether or not these were Jubaland fighters, the situation shows how fragile border insecurity in East Africa is. One small class in Somalia can ripple into Kenya overnight. It is a reminder that borders on the map do not always stop conflicts in real life. Thank you for staying with me for this time that I've been sharing my thoughts in the comment. Do you believe that government's denial or local leaders' claims? What should the Kenya do next? Let's talk about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video so that people can understand the reality about our borders. Even I remember when the former Deputy President of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, was touching this topic. A lot of people were calling, a lot of people were saying that he needs to be arrested because he was not supposed to tackle something about the security thing. And now it is very evident because what he was talking, because he was amongst the people who are raising this alarm. This alarm, you know that it happened in one day and the alarm was there. Alarm was there and people already know this. So let us converse so that we get to understand what is happening, what is really happening from the village. I come from a village set up where I'm bringing things the way they are. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Let's keep conversing. Goodbye.